Hello everyone. I'm going to quickly walk you through what I did to wireframe my app. Now, fortunately, I already have the content of the app. What I'm going to be doing is taking the EdTech website and using a product called Adobe XD, create a prototype of this app. So here's the welcome screen. Now when I'm done, it will look like this. So I'm going to walk you through all of these steps. We'll look at Adobe XD in the prototype module. Here we're just going to focus on wireframing. Now wireframing is just a very quick way to get your thoughts down and start to play with those thoughts, test your app out with your potential users, and make sure that the flow of the app works before you start to put in all the work of creating the individual pages. So to get my thoughts down in terms of what would be on each screen, and also the flow, I sat down with the website and a couple pieces of paper and a pen. And you'll see here how I basically scribbled out what the website's going to look like. So here, for example, is the home screen. And the little A, B, C, D are connectors that I use to connect this screen up with the link to that particular location. So this wireframing was my first iteration. And I got it down basically just to kind of put my ideas down, and I tried to use it with the user, but you kind of notice my handwriting isn't very good. So before I did my second iteration, I went into Word and created a little template. This is just a table with my idea of roughly what a screen size is. And so I laid out the various things that I wanted to see on those particular screens. You notice I have an image holder, something for a tagline, a little bit of nonsense text here just to hold, as they say, a placeholder to hold the text. So once I typed in everything that I had for my handwritten notes, I cut these up and made individual pages of each. So here I am ready to go and work with my potential user. I have my starting screen on the left and each of the subsequent screens on the right. So I'm going to ask my user to think of themselves as a new student coming in and interested in getting a master's degree. So I'll just present them with this first screen and see what happens. So I've asked my user to look for a degree. They look at the start screen and decide on degrees and certification. So I'll take that screen and find the appropriate replacement. Now, when first given this screen, the user initially went and did the undergraduate minor, but then realized they wanted the Master's of Science in Ed Tech. Testing out your wireframes is called usability testing. And we could have a whole course just on usability testing. But the key points for you to remember is don't help your user until they get really lost. Ask them to think out loud. What were they thinking? Why did the user choose the undergraduate minor instead of the Master's of Science? So as you're watching someone go through your application, you don't necessarily have to videotape it. You can, but what you should do is be taking notes. So to test out your app, you want to give the user 3 or 4 tasks that you want them to do. Find a degree, find out information for new students, find out information for current students, look at the courses that are offered, look at the degrees that are offered. So those are all things that I think a potential user might like to do with my app. So I'm going to ask my user to actually do them. Then I'll be observing them, I'll be taking notes, and with that I can go back and do a 3rd, 4th, 5th iteration until I feel that I have the flow down. So if my user went to the undergraduate minor in Ed Tech, maybe I need to highlight something, or maybe it was just a mistake. I provided some resources in the prototype section for you to learn how to use XD. Here, all I'm doing is taking each of those little pieces of paper and turning them into an actual screen. Here's my home screen, welcome for students. You get the idea. I'm using a convention that a link is blue and that a purple link is a link that links outside of the app. So I'll go through and make sure that everything looks okay. Notice I've got a little issue here. I got a little bit of an alignment issue I just noticed, so I'll fix that. And this lets me build out the wireframe. Then when I'm ready, I can use the prototype tool to link each of the pages together. So I'll go out and get a little bit broader view of this. And when I click on a screen, you'll notice that it has connectors to the various screens. And it's very easy to do this. So as I click through each page, you can see what other pages are linked to the various different pages. When you're ready, you can use the desktop preview. If you happen to have an iPhone, you can actually connect it to your laptop and have it work it from the iPhone. But this is a good enough way to test things out. So I'll make sure that my student link goes back to the students, search goes to the search. Now in a normal app, the return from search would go back to the page that I left. I didn't want to mock all of that up here, so I'm just using a convention that this is going to go back to the home page. Once you have your wireframe done, you'll come in and start to actually add the content. On my home screen, I've added a few icons for the battery, network, my wireless connection, like time displayed over here. I want a little search button, have a banner, a little bit of an image, some links, and an image down here in the bottom. Now again, I've done something where I wanted to test out having a pull-down menu. So if I go ahead and do my desktop preview of this, go to Welcome, click here, it actually is going to this screen, which mimics what this pullover menu would do. Now, if I wanted to build this out, I'd have to duplicate every single screen in here. I'm just going to put that in, and then I put a little bit of text up that says this is a demo of the menu. It shows how the menu should operate. Keep that in mind as you're building out your app. If you can't figure out how to do something in Adobe XD, just mark a note as to what it should do. So that's it. You're on your way to designing your first app.